Hello, everybody, and welcome to season 4, episode 2, episode total 62 of the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. This is your host, Jamil Hasan, the Crypto Hipster, where I bring you global insights in the areas of policy and regulation for crypto and blockchain, Web3, all around the world. I want to start today's show. I usually get right into the news. I want to start today's show with some updates about the Crypto Hipster X Factor, which I bring you every single Friday. We will keep on keeping on. We keep going and going and going and going. It's a great show. I bring you insights. I bring you news. I bring you my commentary. I announced last week I would launch 2 new shows this week, the C Factor and the H Factor. And I will tell you, I recorded them, and they were not good. I got to wait for more news to come out regarding the areas of adoption, regarding the areas of Bitcoin innovation, regarding the areas of other alternative currencies. We are still in a bear market. There's little news. I ended up making up half the stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is not good. Like, your YouTubers and your VCs will make stuff up on social media, and they will not be ashamed, and they will not stand behind what they say. I stand behind what I say, and if the news isn't there, the news isn't good, I don't bring it to you. I don't bring it to you. I don't make things up. I built technology for many years. I have a track record in the industry, a track record in technology when I worked in corporate America, very strong. I live and die by integrity and ethics. I actually am the blockchain ethics guy. Wrote the first book on that space. And if something just isn't there, it isn't there. I will let you know. I will let you know when I will launch the C Factor and the H Factor. From now until then, please enjoy each and every Friday the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. And we have a lot going on this week. One brief announcement before we get into it. I published 2 books this week. 2. The first is the entire compilation of episode of season 1, the Crypto Hipster podcast, 50 podcasts in one book. It's a textbook reference. It's on Amazon. It's hardcover, 200,000 words. That was Monday. And just right before the show this morning, season 2, 51 episodes, 207,000 words. Season 2, and that was a magical moment in time. During season 1, one of the interviews I had was with Jeremy Kauffman, who is the founder of Library and Odyssey. And the first bit of news we're going to talk about today is Library, and it's not good news. Okay, it's not good. Library announces, they say, this will be our last post. They threw in the towel. Library threw in the towel against the SEC. The blockchain company Library, the creators of the Library blockchain, the competitor that's supposed to be a competitor and was for a little while to YouTube, and there are better rewards for content creators in Library, has issued its final message to the crypto community, citing several $1 million of debt have been now made it impossible for the firm to continue. This will be our last post, said Library team in October 20th, this morning, statement on Odyssey, a Library-powered video sharing website. It says Library Inc. is winding down. The Library network is unaffected. Odyssey and other assets will undergo a legal process to satisfy debts, but Odyssey has a bright future ahead. So thank you for everyone who fought for us with us for online freedom. A final goodbye post is in the first reply. It says Library Inc. must die. There is no escaping this. It has lost the judgment to the federal government, which overstepped its reach. I added that part. Has several $1 million in debts and has pledged to shut down. Mr. Kaufman, I wish you the best. And anytime you want to come on the Crypto Hipster podcast, sir, you are more than welcome to be a guest to me. Again, we spoke in May 2021. Happy to talk to you again as you get things up and going. And hopefully I can join you in your journey against the SEC in the future. Thank you for all the hard work you did. And I appreciate you and your company. And then the community also reacts to SEC dropping it's dropped its XRP case this week, and had the library shut down. So, Ripple won its legal battle against the US SEC. Because the SEC announced it would dismiss all claims against Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, Brad Garlinghouse, and Executive Chair Chris Larson yesterday. The event marked the signature legal win for Ripple in the civil case filed by the SEC. On the same day, we just said library's termination. But the SEC filed that lawsuit in March 2021. I did not interview anybody from the XRP in 2021, but happy to do it again on the Crypto Hipster podcast. They accused the firm of similar securities law violations to those they brought against Ripple, even against library, against Ripple, similar. While we celebrate another massive win for Ripple, let's not forget the damage the SEC has already done to crypto. They did a damage. Sam Bankman-Fried did damage. When you look at my season 2 book, and please get it, or you can listen to all the podcasts, but you can get the book, you will see the bright promise that was happening before the 2022 meltdown. You see a lot of opportunity in the market for artists, for musicians, for Bitcoiners, for the Ethereans, for everybody, before the SEC got involved, before Sam Bankman-Fried got involved. And I'm not going to get into day 12 of Sam Bankman-Fried's court case, which is going on. I wish I was there. I will tell you, I wish I was in the courtroom when these people are being interviewed, because I tell you, I enjoy comedy. Damn, I miss Robin Williams. He was funny. But I think sitting in that room, just as funny, unless you lost money to them. And then you just be mad. If I lost money to them, I'd be mad at myself. Really, But, we have to move on. We have to move forward. We have to look forward to 2024, right? And looking forward to 2024, we're going to talk about Tether. Tether, it's USDT, not USDC or USDD, USDT. Tether is going to publish reserve reports in real time in 2024. Now, what does that mean? Tether Holdings, the issuer of the world's largest stablecoin by market cap, especially in Asia, is reportedly preparing to update the frequency of releasing its reserve data reports. Paulo Dorino, Tether's chief technology officer and incoming CEO, disclosed that the firm plans to publish reserve data in real time in 2024. Tether did not immediately respond to Bloomberg's report, right? But according to Tether transparency page, the stablecoin issuer currently publishes and updates its reserve data at least once per day. It's going to be real time. Tether also issues monthly reserve reports in addition to quarterly reserve reviews. Okay. Despite many crypto markets seeing some slump in 2023, the USDT issuing company has gained momentum over the past year. And it's done well. Tether's done well. It's a stable coin, but it's done well. So why would we need US dollar coin? What do we need the government to issue? We don't really need that, But I wonder what price feed they're going to use, if it's going to be Chainlink or somebody else. I don't know. I can only guess. I mean, there's only a handful that it could be. But, I don't know what that is. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on library, on XRP, and on Tether. And so we're going to talk about the Chamber of Commerce. I never get to talk about the Chamber of Commerce, you know, but the Chamber of Digital Commerce opposes SEC's overreach in the Binance suit. Okay. US based Chamber of Digital Commerce has aligned with various digital asset firms, associations, legal experts, and legislators in a collective effort to challenge the US SEC versus Binance lawsuit. Where can I sign up, please? According to a recently filed amicus brief, the advocacy group also seeks to thwart the SEC's attempt to oversee the cryptocurrency sector. They should not. Okay, without explicit authorization from the US Congress and halt the SEC's method of regulation through enforcement, I agree that we should halt the SEC's regulation through enforcement. It's overreach. Cody Carbone, vice president of policy at the Chamber of Digital Commerce, stated, the SEC continues to try to regulate the entire digital asset ecosystem through enforcement actions instead of issuing guidance or going through the proper notice and comment rulemaking channels. The enforcement actions are paralyzing the market and sending digital asset innovation overseas. The organization argues the SEC employs the enforcement-based method to classify digital assets as securities and impose penalties on cryptocurrency businesses. It claims this approach hampers innovation and compels crypto companies to relocate abroad. Furthermore, the chamber states that the SEC lacks the congressional authority to oversee all digital assets as securities. While legislative bodies endeavor to establish a regulatory framework, the SEC's actions pose risks to the industry and its stakeholders. That is true. That is true. In our U.S. Constitution, in the U.S. here, there's a system of checks and balances. We have the judicial system, the executive system, and the congressional system, and they're supposed to check and balance each other. The SEC is part of the executive branch, although probably shouldn't be. The chief was assigned a position he wasn't qualified for, that he probably just bought. And based on a background that wasn't based on his intellectual property or knowledge or education experience, he's put there. And then, as a stooge who loses all the time. He got a one win. Very unfortunate. But he's just a stooge that loses all the time. And it's this big theatrical song and dance. And I think everybody's tired of that. I'm tired of it. A lot of people I know are tired of it. People on social media are tired of it. So it's all tiring. Let's throw out the towel with the bathwater. Okay? What do I mean? If it doesn't work, fix it so that it does, But it's supposed to be checks and balances. So I'll leave it at that. Metaverse tech gets the US green light to use speedier 6 gigahertz frequency. Well, that's not related to anything, right? Well, it kind of is. Low power wearable technology, including virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR devices, are crucial to the metaverse. Metaverse is on a blockchain and will be permitted to tap into the 6 gigahertz frequency band following a rule change from the US communications regulator. A regulator is doing something positive here. You got the SEC, who's not doing anything positive, but you got the communications regulator, who is. In a press release yesterday, the Federal Communication Commission said it opened up the 6 gigahertz frequency band to very low power devices without needing a license, permitting a total of 850 megahertz of spectrum. The band boasts faster speeds, more bandwidth, and lower lag, which are all needed for the metaverse, by the way, or latent. They're called latency, these things, in technical terms. These rules will spur an ecosystem of cutting-edge applications, including wearable technologies and augmented and virtual reality. The metaverse is all on the blockchain, by the way. The 6 gigahertz band is, as the FCC claims, important for next-generation Wi-Fi operations and was first opened for use for some devices by the regulator in 2020. That's good news. We're going to see blockchain come alive through the metaverse. We had already seen glimpses of that. We talk about it in my season 2. But really, my next book, the season 3, Crypto Hipster podcast, is really I really get into the metaverse. And you're going to see all the potential that's there for the metaverse on the blockchain. And this helps dramatically with that. And don't forget, Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan both already have lounges in the metaverse. So your banks are in the metaverse already. Not Facebook metaverse, but the actual metaverse, Decentraland, other metaverse places, they're already there. All right, next. FinCEN, my least favorite regulator in the whole entire world, FinCEN, proposes designating crypto mixers as money laundering hubs. That part I agree with. I'll tell you about the FinCEN. The U.S. Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, has proposed designating crypto mixing as an area of primary money laundering concern following Hamas attack on Israel. In an October 19 notice, FinCEN said it had assessed that the percent of CVC convertible virtual currency transactions processed by CVC mixers that originated from likely illicit sources is increasing. FinCEN proposed requiring domestic institutions and agencies to implement certain record-keeping and reporting requirements for transactions involving crypto mixers. FinCEN considered issuing a rule pursuant to Section 311 of the U.S. Patriot Act that would have been narrowly scoped to address terror finance involving Hamas and ISIS and North Korean-sponsored and affiliated actors, said the notice. However, FinCEN determined that such a narrow approach would be insufficient to address the relevant risks. Deputy Secretary Wally Adeyemo reportedly said the addition of crypto mixers to entities sanctioned by the U.S. government was aimed at combating digital assets being exploited by state-affiliated cyber actors, cyber criminals, and terrorist groups. He cited Hamas, the group responsible for the October 7 attack on Israel, and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the organization Israel has blamed for the October 17 attack on Gaza hospital, illicitly using crypto. All right, well, if you use a mixer, you can mark it up. But if you use a blockchain, which Hamas said they don't use, then everything can be tracked. So let's talk about tracking. Let's talk about what the purpose of blockchain is, to make everything transparent and obvious to the world, so that everybody in the world can see what the transactions on the blockchain are. So it would be a really bad idea for a terrorist group to put everything on the blockchain so that the whole world can see it was them. Like, if you're a criminal or a terrorist, so you want a permanent record of what you did, so the whole world can see what you did, and you can't deny it because it's the whole world sees it. I think that's idiotic thinking, but we have a senator in Massachusetts who thinks otherwise. Advocacy groups are pushing back against Senator Warren because she wrote a letter linking crypto with terrorism. Of course she did. That's what she's been doing the whole time. Why? Because for my international listeners, for my global listeners, listen, in the U.S., we elect Congress. We elect the House of Representatives who represent the people, and we also people vote for the senators who represent the institutions in their state. So Senator Warren needs to appease the people so she can get elected. People in Massachusetts, just don't vote for her anymore. It'll solve the problem. But when she is elected, then her benefactors are the institutions and the banks in Massachusetts. So she has to do what they need, because really, Warren, you're a puppet. And think about it, call it the service, call it, you serve the state, but when you have $100,000 salary and you have $200 million or $100 million, you get money from somewhere, right? You know, so U.S.-based crypto advocacy organizations are calling you out, and I'll call you out too. I'm not in your state. You don't matter to me. It's pain. Uh, Senator Elizabeth Warren and other lawmakers for some of the claims made regarding connections between Hamas and financing through cryptocurrency. On October 17, Senator Warren and more than 100 lawmakers, 100, signed a letter calling for action to meaningfully. That means your institutions in your state don't like crypto, but the people need it because we have to deal with people like you. So meaningfully, she said, they called action to meaningfully curtail illicit crypto activity used for funding the militant group Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad in the wake of the former attack on Israel. The Massachusetts senator, prominent crypto opponent, idiot, in the U.S. Congress also penned a Wall Street Journal op-ed with the Senator Roger Marshall, who on October 18, claiming crypto financed terrorism endangered U.S. citizens by funding such groups as well as the production of illicit drugs. It's not crypto, honey. It's the U.S. dollar. It's giving these weapons to Iran. It's what you and your party did. You know, both parties, they both suck. I'm independent. I ain't gonna join either one of you. You know, so I don't like anybody in Congress. Yaya Finsue, director of anti-money laundering at the Crypto Council for Innovation, said Warren's proposed solution to some of these issues would not address the problem occurring outside the U.S. jurisdictions. True. Senator Warren said her bill, the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act, was aimed at ensuring that the same rules to protect traditional payment systems from abuse are extended to crypto. But you are abusing the system. So they're proposing KYC know your customer rules akin to it, suggesting that copy machine manufacturers would need to KYC anyone using their copiers, says Finney. Warren and Marshall unfortunately fail to understand that the underlying blockchain technology actually makes transactions public, providing investigators a digital paper trail to identify terrorist operatives and their financial contributors. The Blockchain Association responded with similar claims on October 18 Twitter thread, or X thread, pointing to reports from April that groups within Hamas stopped using Bitcoin for supporting its activities, as authorities could more easily track the funds. Yeah, of course, it's what blockchains do. According to the advocacy groups, only a small fraction of Hamas funding has come from crypto, and it was unclear how the group benefited from those funds in the recent attacks on Israel. Massachusetts drivers. This is good. Actually, I said Massachusetts drivers. I'm in Connecticut. We got Massachusetts drivers all the time who like to go under the speed limit and left-hand lane. No, you don't belong there. But you're not the worst now. You're not the worst. People who live in my state with New York plates go through red lights all the time. I had to become a very defensive driver because y'all don't know how to drive. You know, go back home. I don't know where you came from. Go back. You know? So, and then speaking of Connecticut, because I have to tie this in, I lived down the street from these people who'd never given me the time of day in the 7 years I've been in this industry. New York Attorney General sues Gemini, Genesis, and DCG for allegedly defrauding investors. But it's New York, and these guys are in Connecticut. This makes little sense to me, but let's explore it. Okay, it makes little sense to me because they're in Connecticut, but let's explore it. New York's Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against crypto firms Gemini, Genesis, and Digital Currency Group for allegedly defrauding investors through the Gemini Earn investment program. An official statement from the Office of Attorney General Letitia James outlines the basis of the charges. Letitia James, I think you're doing a good job, by the way. Very good job. You are actually doing a good job. Claiming these companies defrauded more than 23,000 investors, including 29,000 New York citizens, of more than $1 billion. An investigation carried out by James's office claims that Gemini lied to investors about its Gemini Earn investment program, which it ran in partnership with Genesis. It claims that while Gemini had assured investors that the program was a low-risk investment, kind of like what Mashinsky did at Celsius, Investigations revealed that Genesis financials were risky. The lawsuit alleged that Gemini knew Genesis loans were undersecured and at one point highly concentrated with one entity, Sam Bankman Fried's Alameda, but did not reveal this information to investors. The lawsuit also charges Genesis, as well as former CEO Satoru Moro, parent company DCG, and its CEO Barry Silbert, which are defrauding investors by attempting to conceal more than $1.1 billion in losses. The lawsuit looks to ban Gemini, Genesis, and DCG from operating the financial investment industry in New York, as well as seek restitution for investment and the return of ill-gotten gains. A statement from the New York AG highlighted the losses suffered by middle-class investors. Hard-working New Yorkers and investors around the country lost more than $1 billion because they were fed blatant lies that their money would be safe and grow if they invested it in Gemini Earn. The same can be said for Celsius Network. Same can be said for a whole bunch of places. Yes. Keep up the good work, Miss James. That's all I can say about that. And let's talk about, we're going to move to South America now because that's the state of crypto in the US. Overreach and lies. Well, hopefully, when you read my books, you can see what the potential of this technology really is. And it's great. You just got to get the bad players, and the bad players are the regulators, some, the senators, some, and these DCG people, some, Argentina, central bank to introduce digital peso as soon as possible. After a series of remarks about the potential benefits of a central bank digital currency for the national economy, the Central Bank of Argentina Republic said it has accelerated its work on legislation to implement the CBDC with workflow in the country. On October 18, during a public discussion of the Filo News channel, Argentina Central Bank Director Juan Agustin de Teles Noguera revealed that the central bank is working on legislative framework for the digital peso CBDC project recently proposed by the Minister of Economy and presidential candidate Sergio Massa. According to Noguera, the project will be presented as soon as possible and introduced to the Congreso de la Nación, Argentina, the country's parliament. The official halted Massa's approach to the CBDC and implicitly criticized the position of another presidential candidate, Bitcoin-friendly Javier Milei, who has been publicly proclaiming the dollarization of the Argentine economy. That's what's going on in Argentina. Inflation. So you need a new president. Let's go get one. ECB. We're going to go across the oceano, to the Europe. We're going to Europe right now. Okay. ECB officials moved to preparation phase for digital euro. The governing council of the European Central Bank has announced it will begin the preparation phase for the digital euro project following a 2-year investigation. On an notice this past Wednesday, the ECB said it plans to start laying the foundation for the possible issuance of a digital euro beginning on November 1st, adding the issuance of a central bank digital currency was not a foregone conclusion. The announcement followed the release. We're not talking about Bitcoin, relapse. Followed the release with a 44-page report on a potential digital euro's design and distribution. The preparation phase, as the ECB refers to it, will last 2 years and focus on finalizing rules for the digital currency, as well as selecting possible issuers. Officials said the next phase will include testing and experimentation in accordance with user feedback, as well as requirements under the central bank. After 2 years, the governing council will decide whether to move the next stage of preparations to pave the way the possible future issuance and rollout of a digital euro, said the ECB. The launch of the preparation phase is not a decision on whether to issue a digital euro. That decision will only be considered by the governing council once the EU's legislative process has been completed. Yada, yada, yada. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on, the bad players in the U.S. being some of the regulators and senators and stuff like that. Interesting. And are the bad players in Europe? Who are the bad players in Europe? And why are they playing badly? Or who are the good players? Why are they playing goodly? Is goodly a word? I don't know. European Banking Authority, the ESMA, issued crypto entity suitability guidelines. The European Banking Authority and the European Securities and Markets Authority, ESMA, jointly released a consultation paper on October 20 featuring 2 drafts. These drafts encompass the assessment of the suitability of management body members and shareholders or members holding qualifying stakes in issuers of asset reference tokens, ARTs, and crypto asset service providers, CASPs. The proposed joint guidelines for evaluating the suitability of shareholders or members, whether direct or indirect, holding qualifying stakes in ART or CASP issuers offer regulatory bodies a shared approach for assessing their suitability. This includes granting authorization for ART and CASP issuance and conducting prudential assessments for potential acquisitions. However, guidelines for assessing the suitability of management body members in ART and CASP issuer firms offer standardized criteria for evaluating their knowledge, expertise, integrity, and ability to dedicate adequate time to fulfill their responsibilities. Let me know your thoughts on that. How's that going to go? What's going on, man? Come on now. All right. I say that to my dog. When I walk my dog and she's trying to, run off the leash, I say, come on now. And she comes. She comes. That's it. EU data protection regulators urge anonymity for smaller transactions in digital euro. On October 18, which was Wednesday, again, the European Data Protection Board and European Data Protection Supervisor issued a joint statement on regulating the digital euro as proposed by the EU Commission. In July 2023, the regulators made several recommendations to enhance the personal data protection standards for the EU Central Bank digital currency. I've had a number, if you're one of my friends in Europe, and I've had a number of nice interviews with people talking about European regulations. I'm happy to have more to get to the bottom of this. Got to get to the bottom of things sometimes. Okay. Authorities suggest clarifying the proposed verification procedure for maximum allowed amount of digital euro held by an individual account. The current draft allows the EU Central Bank and national central banks to establish a single access point to each user's data. Both authorities recommend conducting an assessment to determine the necessity and proportionality of a singular access point. They emphasized the employing technical measures for the decentralized storage of these identifiers is feasible. Okay. They also point out that fraud prevention and detection mechanism is important and recommended considering less intrusive measures, though, from a data protection perspective. All right, that's a handful. It's a mouthful. We're talking about pandas. Actually, Bitpanda. Bitpanda crypto exchange gets licensed in Norway amid European expansion. One of the largest crypto exchanges in Europe, Vienna-based Bitpanda, has become one of the first foreign entities to receive a virtual asset service provider license in Norway. Bitpanda holds a license in a number of European jurisdictions such as Austria, Germany, France, Czechia, and Sweden. According to the deputy CEO of Bitpanda, Lucas Enzerdorfer Conrad, trying to butcher your name, sir, okay? The registration marks another step in the company's expansion in Europe. It is obvious that we in Europe need an investment platform that we can trust. At Bitpanda, we have set out to be that platform. Over the last 12 months, we have been the only European provider to receive licenses in Germany, Sweden, and Norway. We now have more than 4 million users and enable Europe's leading financial institutions and neobanks to offer digital assets. Good job. Continue expansion. Green light. You have my green light. Please do. Please expand. Finland. We're going to go to Finland. Finland is working on an instant payment system and embraces the digital euro. The Bank of Finland embraces the digital euro. Bank. The Bank of Finland is coordinating the creation of a Finnish instant payment solution compatible with European standards. Because, by the way, they're in Europe. Tuomas Vilimäki, BOF board member and member of the governing council of the European Central Bank, made the announcement on October 19. Vilimäki revealed the Bank of Finland is actively promoting the development of new forms of payment. The official called the digital euro the most topical project in the European payment sector. The possible introduction of a digital euro would give consumers the option of paying with central bank money wherever electronic payment is accepted, he says. Let me know your thoughts. Is Finland in Europe? And I'm sorry, how is that payment system going to go in Finland, which happens to be in Europe? Binance France director resigns, adding to a list of exits from crypto exchange. Stephanie Cabos has stepped down from her role as executive director of Binance France. I told you, I am an author. I am not a soliloquist. I don't do haiku. I like to rhyme sometime. But hey, Binance France is becoming at least a 10th senior executive to leave Binance this year. Yesterday morning, on a post, Binance France resident David Prinke confirmed Cabosier's departure and expressed his gratitude for her work at the exchange. I can't read this because I can't speak in French, so I don't know, but I'm going to shoot it a shot. Nous remercions Stéphanie pour sa forte contribution à Binance France et lui souhaitons le meilleur pour son prochain défi. I probably butchered the French language there. Like, you don't want me speaking French, but I can say a few things. French fries, Binance France, DeFi. Yeah. We thank Stephanie for her strong contribution to Binance France and wish her the best for her next challenge. All right. She was actually, how many people who I interviewed from Binance left? Number one, Helen High, season 3. My book comes out. You can see, that in book. And I have a podcast from season 4. Hopefully, those people get new opportunities in the space. And, I'm sure and confident that they will. I only have one article left, and it's my only Asia article, and there's no real news coming out of Asia this week. And hopefully, sometimes I have a whole entire episode on Asia, and sometimes I have just one thing. Today I have just one thing. South Korean regulator outlines steps to enhance digital asset legislation. South Korea's Financial Supervisory Service, FSS, is preparing regulations to supplement the Virtual Asset Users Protection Act passed earlier in 2023. New regulations should be ready by January before the law enters into force, the FSS had said. There you go with my rhyming again. FSS had said. The South Korean National Assembly Political Affairs Committee conducted an audit on the FSS this week on Tuesday, in which FSS head Lee Bak-hyan responded to criticism that South Koreans were losing money on crypto burger coins. Well, don't buy burger coins, buy better coins. Korean slang for foreign issued cryptocurrency that were traded in South Korea. They're not burger coins, sir. They are crypto. The FSS will establish standards for listing procedures, internal controls, and issuance and distribution of virtual assets, as well as a virtual asset market supervision and inspection system. All right, that's it. Let me know your thoughts on that. And that is a wrap for episode 62, season 4, episode 2. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. I have a series of podcasts coming out next week. Check out my latest 2 new books, the textbooks, the hardcover form, or the other 50 I've published in the last 2 weeks. And we're going to keep on climbing. I'm going to keep on building. I'm going to bring you the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster every single Friday. And when we hit a bull market, or when we have news and things are churning again like they were in 2021 and early part of 2022, You're going to get the C factor and the H factor. I just won't bring them to you if they suck. And but if they're good, you're going to get them. You're going to right here on the Crypto Hipster. Have a wonderful week. See you next Friday.